Remember to subscribe for daily top Reddit stories. Okay, story time. Housekeepers of Reddit. What do you know about the owners of the houses that they don't know you know? Man of the house asked me and the other cleaning crew ladies if we have ever seen this type of dog leash. Holds up what is clearly an underbed restraint system looking confused. I didn't say sheet. We all looked at each other like duck. No, I'm not telling him. He says maybe she wants a dog. Why was it under the mattress? He just wandered off dragging this thing behind him. He was a nice guy, worked a lot, tipped well, gave us holiday bonuses. She was a trophy wife and was not nice to him. They divorced while I still worked there. He got a dog named Mayonnaise and was much happier. It was a rescue greyhound. Sweet dog. I don't live in that town anymore, but I hope Mr. Jim is happy still. Where she keeps her Bilbos. It's not obvious. I'm a nanny. The last family worked for, I overheard the dad calling his insurance asking if a certain rehab was covered. He talks loud naturally. I heard what he was going for and everything. Nobody knew, not family, not friends. Just me and them. They never knew I knew. Not a housekeeper but a nanny. A family once took me on vacation with them so I could watch their kids while they'd go out and explore the area. That week, my bed was the couch in the living room. It's late at night. The kids are sleeping. I'm laying on the couch and the parents get back. The dad says, "Is she sleeping?" referring to me. I didn't say anything, so apparently he assumed yes. He then started farting very loudly. Our maid service found our positive pregnancy test in the bathroom trash. After presumably finding negative pregnancy tests in the bathroom trash for the previous 12 months, left us a nice little congratulations note on my wife's nightstand. Dog walker. Here, I was dog sitting for an older work friend once and saw her days sober calendar. I was simultaneously sad because I had no idea she was struggling, and happy for her because she had almost a full month marked off. I'm not a housekeeper, but my late aunt used to be. One of her clients, who was fairly well to do, had a whole closet full of genital themed toys. And when I say toys, I'm not using a euphemism for sex enhancement items or anything like that. Literal genital toys. Wind up pen 15s with googly eyes on them. Pez dispensers shaped like the most browsed pages of a skin mag. I suspect these weren't official Pez brand. Rather risque variants on pin the tail on the donkey. A Nerf-like gum that fired foam phalluses. My cleaning guy caught me leaving the house once. Said he knew I enjoyed some Magic Dragon because he'd find stuff for it a lot and asked if he could find me some for a camping trip with his wife. I freaked a little after he just said, "I know you do marijuana." I was like, am I catching a lecture? House I used to work at had a secret passage from the master bed to the attic. Also a secret passage from a cabinet in the great room leading to the exterior of the garage. You need boner pills to have all those affairs. My friend who cleans houses said she once had a girl who left dirty pads all over her room. She refused to clean it. Honestly, everything. I worked in a house manager butler type of position, and there is nothing you don't find out eventually. The trajectory of the toothpaste droplets on the mirror would tell me which of the women had spent the night. I knew passwords to computers, alarm systems, bank accounts and safes that I hadn't necessarily been provided with. Drugas, kinks, medical history, sordid family secrets, skeletons in the closet, you name it. I think that's the reason salaries get obscene if you stay long enough. Your silence is literally golden. When you cheat on your all-organic keto diet. There's a secret basement in the house behind a shelf in the kitchen. The previous owner did it. A whole lot. My favorite story is this old couple, mid-70s, inseparable, and couldn't be sweeter if they were covered in sugar. The lady would always leave me a cooked lunch for when I came over, and explicit instructions written on the top of the cling wrap for how long to microwave it. Their house was just a few steps down from a mansion. 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. It usually took a good 3 hours just to finish all the vacuuming and dusting. One day they had a room closed and locked that had always been open before. Their treadmills and old people dumbbells were in there. No note or anything on the door about leaving it alone. And since I had a universal key, I didn't give it a second thought and went in. Didn't find anything unusual apart from a largish box on the treadmill. Picked it up to dust off, and the bottom gives way. Out fall about 10 different 6 toys. A purple Bilbo that must have been a foot and a half long. Clearly used nipple clamps. And a fleshlight with Arnold Sharpied on it were among the things I had to very carefully put back in the box to place it elsewhere. Dusted the room and vacuumed it, trying the whole time to erase the contents of that box from my memory. I finish that up, and feeling a bit peckish, decide to take that time to go eat lunch. 2 chicken breasts with a side of celery greeted me in the dining room. The cling wrap had 2 notes on it, the first of which read microwave for 1:30 on high, sauces in fridge. The second, which was clearly written very hastily by the husband, read you should have put a serious tag on this question. Working in hotels is similar to cleaning someone's house, because those comfortable will lay it out for you. You can tell if someone is messy or tidy at home, how well they take care of their things, what they eat, how much they drink, what medical problems they may have. And if you get the chance to meet them, you can piece together why they live the way they do by telling their stories. I never made fun of our guests or judged them. That would be so unfair and intrusive. A client of mine doesn't know I know she ducks her husband in the ads with a strap on. Woman with medium light skin tone shrugging. Nice Colombian family. Big tipping. They import coke from Colombia. A bit of an innocent one, but while I was cleaning I saw this cabinet that was very large, like someone could fit a body in there. So, being curious, I opened it and saw a whole room. It was crazy. Inside there was a bed and lights attached to these tall wood pieces. Then a mini bookshelf with some books and a desk and computer. It was absolutely amazing. Housekeeper Nanny here. Eventually we find everything. Mainly where the 6 toys are. Where dad hides all his empty energy drink cans. Where mom stores all her shopping purchases with tags still on them. Parents in general hide their unusual items in the most usual places. Simple boxes in bedroom drawers. In random linen closets. Mostly readily able to find and just out of their way. I've helped move several families and doing the checks for packing has gotten some interesting results. We know when the parents are tired and don't want to come home. We know sometimes the bar trips the parent takes before coming home. We know schedules that they say are the reason aren't really the reason. We know personal preferences they have over the years to any random assortment of thing. Seriously, who buys mayo to put on everything as their condiment of choice? Some things that we know, they know we do and accept it. A lot of the stuff we know, we find out and definitely play dumb with. First milestones in nannying are a big one. Keep that to the parents finding the first tooth we found days ago. The walking steps they took yesterday were really the first today. Why take those moments from parents needlessly is our perspective. Housekeeping is usually the who is dirtiest. I know which parent doesn't brush their teeth every day. Which parent is having an affair with a co-worker and left behind a recognizable item on accident. We know that they don't even consider or think much about us knowing all these things. The worst was accidentally listening to my bosses get it on. They had left the monitor for the baby in their room. It was not turned off and they to this day do not know I heard them and turned off the monitor. LOL. One of my most vanilla customers doesn't know I know about her bondage fetish. She seems like she would be a kindergarten teacher. It caught me off guard when I seen her ropes cuffs. Not the housekeeper, but I thought I had this brilliant hiding spot. And when I lost my wallet, my maid told me you should hide it with those papers inside your nightstand next time. I felt such fear. She knows the house better than any of us. Disclaimer Reddit. She's like family to me and has been with us for over a decade. I know for sure she would never steal from us. I was a nanny and babysitter for an exclusive, high-end agency. I am trying to choose a story. I have hundreds. I guess I'll go with this one. One of my regulars was a little math genius in one of the best universities in the country. Her apartment was across from the dorms. Aside from sleeping with her students and others she'd pick up on casual encounters, she showed me her toy collection, which was extensive, and gave me a set of binoculars and asked if I wanted to join her on Saturday night when she liked to watch the kids having sex in their dorm rooms. I politely declined. Maybe I made a face or something because she tried to make me feel more comfortable by asking me if I'd like a drink. I accepted. Normally I'd say no, but I had to ask her something relating to her kids. I don't remember what. Anyway, we sit on the couch and she pours me some wine and then says, "I know," with a big smile. She stood up. I got a little nervous, but then she headed to the piano and started playing Scott Joplin's Maple Leaf Rag, and that was that night. Haven't been a housekeeper in years, but we can always tell when your marriage is falling apart. The amount of giving up is clear. Once cleaned a house for a woman that worked from home. It was a huge house and there she was at her desk on the phone. I started cleaning that area and she chatted away. MHHMM. I got me a white itch cleaning up after me. If my mama could see me now. Yes sir. She worked for them white folk 30 years. Ima beat this little white girl like them folk did to my mama. After saying this she turned in her chair and saw me as I was walking by. As if I just come into the room. She had no clue I heard her. I feel where she's coming from, but I stopped going to her house. For obvious reasons. That many of them are setting their kids up to fail in life. When I get a housekeeper, I'm just going to come clean and show them where all of the potentially embarrassing stuff is. I really don't give a duck and it would probably break the ice. House cleaner of 2 clients who are, well, we're dating each other. Guy client, we will call N. Has no clue what we know about him. Female client, we will call L. Is a little more in the loop of what we know. N apparently cheated on L with a woman. K. Who broke up his previous marriage. S. L found out and dumped his ass. He tried to get back together with L, even calling and texting multiple times a day. He did that for 2 weeks and suddenly went quiet. Which clued L that he was sleeping with K again. I cleaned a few days later and sure enough. K's shoes were hidden under the couch, not a usual place. I didn't realize being in a soap opera was part of the job description. Special note, N has 3 vibrators. What the hell does a guy need 3 vibrators? Short version. Guy client cheated on female client. Twice. Surprise bilbos. Buddy of mine used to clean houses with his mom. He told me about this one massive mansion they would clean and how there were no mirrors in the entire house. There also weren't a lot of windows, and if there were, they had thick drapes. He met the family only once and told me they were very pale and quiet people. He worked for ducking vampires. I apologize for bad formatting, I'm on mobile. I don't know if this still applies, but I'm a house cleaner at a 5-star Inn restaurant, placing 5th in the top 10 best restaurants in the States. I've been working there for about 2 years now, and we definitely know when you've done the dirty in the room. We also know you've shaved your massive curly pubes in the shower and somehow managed to get them into the sink. We also know how much you pay for the room, and the way you treat the room reflects a lot on who you are as a person. Edit. Sorry for the confusion, haha. I work at a restaurant in. We are a very famous fancy restaurant that also has rooms for guests and also houses that guests can rent for a few nights. Again, sorry for the confusion. I was cleaning the house of a woman with a young teenager. His room used to be in the basement, but she said he kept sneaking out at night, so she moved him upstairs. I was cleaning his room and found condoms under his lampshade when I was dusting, and some pictures of a girl's fell out of his Harry Potter book. I know she would have been really upset if she knew. I never said anything. That they've been in the freezer for the last 3 years. They did well to hide it, but I know both of them are having affairs. She gets really giddy the week she meets her lover. She is usually quite dowdy in the way she dresses, but puts on much younger looking items to meet her man. The week she doesn't meet him is the week she is more glum but gets bombarded with messages, so she is stuck in her phone. P. On the other hand, he is a lot harder to catch. I find seemingly innocuous handwritten telephone numbers and names, always female, on scraps of paper. He is a professional that works all over the world and travels a lot and has a massive network, so it is part of the job. However, in his bin, wrapped in tissue paper, I'll find a torn off section of paper with a room number and presumably time written on it. This method is used with at least 7 different women, judging by the different styles of handwriting. I'm pretty sure he is banging more than that though. I wasn't exactly a housekeeper, but I was cleaning up files at a job that I quit a few years ago. Within a week, I found out that the owner never paid any of her bills and used government funds that was supposed to go to the adult care center she ran to buy herself expensive cars and houses that she shouldn't have been buying in the first place. Update. I hope I used the correct site, but I reported them using the HHS site. I forgot a lot about the company and I hope that their name and the city and state will be enough. That she got a DUI. Typical religious white collar family. Husband, wife, and 14 kids. She had one of those at-home breathalyzer tests from the court sitting in the master bathroom. It takes your picture as you blow into it and it sends it to your probation officer. I only know because I was on probation a few years ago and had one too. Curiosity got the best of me and I looked at her public record. Yup. DUI and she messed up on probation too. Had another court date. After that I started noticing 12-step books and such. I clean for an elderly lady who is still quite sharp and feisty. She was a Boeing inspector in the 60s and 70s and stood up to a lot of men in order to make sure the planes were up to code. And she did all this as a black woman and a mother. At some point she divorced and later in life remarried and cared for her husband as he developed dementia and eventually passed away. She tells me about her life without a trace of sentiment. Everything is matter of fact and light-hearted. But I see the photographs she keeps of her husband all over the house. Ones of them together as well as of him young and handsome in uniform. Long before she ever met him when they were middle-aged. I know how it is to lose someone to dementia, but I can only imagine it being your spouse. Sometimes when I call her to confirm that I'm coming over, she sounds deflated and lonely when she first picks up before she switches into her telephone voice. She's never told me how deeply she still loves him or how painful it was to see him slipping away. How lonely it is living with only his photographs and memories. How that need for one particular person never goes away. But even though I can't know exactly, I know. Not a housekeeper but a friend did some contractor work. A client wanted to remove some of the drop ceiling and replace it with drywall. Well, a few ceiling tiles removed, and falls out a ton of crushed beer cans and used condoms. The family had a very active teenager. I always wondered why the bed in the guest bedroom was sometimes slept in. I thought maybe the dad slept there during arguments, as the toddler mentioned his daddy slept there sometimes. Then I found out that since the couple I housekeep for are Jewish, the dad sleeps in the guest room for 7 days while the mom is menstruating and another 7 days after for the woman to cleanse herself of impurity. So a total of 2 weeks. Their sex life must suck balls. I also think Jewish men can't masturbate. So poor dad. Maybe that's why he's kinda grouchy and doesn't speak or say good morning bye to me when I leave or arrive. I'm sure having a 27-year-old attractive and fit woman around cleaning makes 37-year-old sick deprived dad think of naughty things. Not a housekeeper, but a pet sitter. I'm not going through people's drawers and sheet, but just being in people's houses has taught me a lot about how people are. My wealthier clients tend to be extremely unhappy with their lives. I've got marriages that are complete shams and spouses who cover up this fact by filling their home with endless amounts of useless shit. These people have so much money that they can just drown their sorrows by hoarding objects instead of dealing with their actual issues. Their animals tend to be extremely standoffish or extremely needy, and they're always horribly untrained. And this is usually because they buy animals just cause they can. There's a void and they fill it with an animal that I then take care of for them. My lower class clients tend to be genuinely happy. Their houses are usually kind of falling apart and their cars are decades old. But they've got cute notes around to house to their children or spouses and the layout of their living bed room is intimate and cozy. Their animals are decently trained and friendly most of the time. And this is usually because they devote time and energy into training and loving it rather than locking it in the backyard with a bowl of water from 9-5. The point I'm making is mostly about the rich people. They don't know that I know how secretly unhappy they are. They don't know that I know that their marriage is failing. Their children don't want to come by to see them anymore. And their trips to mom's house are more of a call for help than a vacation. Obviously I'm not saying that rich people can't be happy. But my pet sitting experiences have led me to make many conclusions about how people with money are generally less capable of actually fixing the problems in their lives and tend to just bury them instead. Shoot, I gotta mow my lawn. Thanks for listening. If I spark joy, hit me with a like and subscribe. I make new videos every day. Till then, check out another video or leave a comment. I love you. Have a great day, you strong magnificent person.